So the California Highway Patrol released the accident report concerning their investigations and their findings of Kevin Hart, the accident that led Kevin Hart severely injured, Jared Black and his fiancée. And in the initial report and initial statement, they concluded that reckless driving was the main factor on why this accident happened. It had nothing to do with the automobile, mechanical errors. It had nothing to do with the road or any other passengers or any other cars. More to do with the driver driving recklessly. Excuse me. He accelerated at high speeds, high dangerous speeds, and that ultimately is the main reason and the main factor why Kevin Hart and Jared Black had the accident. Also in this statement, Kevin Hart was not at the wheel. Now, a lot of people were drawing their conclusions, assuming that Kevin Hart was at the wheel and he left them, he left them behind, and Jared Black and his fiancée was going to take blame and responsibility for the car crashing and all these other ridiculous things. And there was some other ridiculous things concerning a connection between Kevin Hart, Jared Black, and his fiancée, that they was doing some other activities outside of the car, relationship wise. But I'm not going to get into all that stuff. That's what the California Highway Patrol came with their statement, came with their traffic report. Kevin Hart, a couple of weeks back, released a statement talking about he's going as far as suing the people behind making this car because they did not include safety harnesses. Now, the car did have seat belts, but not safety harnesses. Okay, and they were wearing their seat belts also in this statement. But with this accident report, and they're basically blaming the driver more so of the car. The car is a 1970, I believe it's a Plymouth Barracuda. And, I didn't know Barracudas were two-seaters because I assumed that it had a back seat, but it's a two-seater. And, Kevin Hart was on, I don't know who was on what. The fiance was sitting on Kevin Hart's lap, would be kind of impossible. So Kevin Hart had to been sitting on the Jared Black's fiance's lap, and Jared Black was at the wheel driving. Okay. Now, Kevin Hart did say that he was going to sue the company that revamped and created this car for Kevin Hart. It's a muscle car from the 1970s, and he assumed that the reason why the accident happened was the simple part of not driver error but mechanical error. They didn't include safety harnesses. Now, this is going to put like a damper in that lawsuit if Kevin Hart goes through with this. Because they can use the people who remade and designed this car. They can conclude that the safety harnesses, the reason why you had an accident is not because you didn't have safety harnesses. The reason why you had the accident was because you was driving recklessly. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of litigation papers indicating and letting Kevin Hart know that this is a sports car, this is a muscle car, and this car has a real powerful engine, and there are certain things you can't do with this car, as far as revving it up and speeding, particularly in certain curves and certain lanes of the roadway. If you're not familiar with the roadway, they advise you not to ramp the speed up in particular cars like this. So it's going to put like a slight damper if Kevin Hart is going to pursue suing the people who the custom car. They're called custom cars. I'm pretty sure somebody at some garage made a custom car for Kevin Hart, and that's who Kevin Hart is going after. I believe Plymouth make the Barracudas. I don't think he can sue Plymouth because Plymouth recalled, and Barracudas, you can't find a new Barracuda today, probably because of these reasons why you can't find a new Barracuda driving around today. They're old school muscle cars, and that's why they no longer make them. So Plymouth Motors is going to be excluded from this lawsuit. So the only people that Kevin Hart could truly go after is the garage that made the custom car, and he's going to go after them because they didn't include safety harnesses. Okay, but the California Highway released the traffic investigation to the public, and this is what the findings came up to. They also said in this report that the car is not liable for any mechanical errors. Okay, and you can finagle that any way you want to in a court of law. I'm pretty sure the people who are going to be the lawyers that are going to be representing the garage that made the custom car for Kevin Hart, they're gonna say, well, the findings in the police report says that the garage is not liable. The reason why you had the accident is a simple fact of reckless in driving, endangering, the passengers. Had nothing to do with the garage, and the car is only made for 2 people to occupy. It was 3 people in there, and maybe if Kevin Hart wasn't in there, he wouldn't have the severe injuries from that car crash. Okay, it's not designed for 3 people to sit in this car. It's only designed for 2 people. It's no different than having a Corvette, and it's a 2-seater, but you had 4 people in the car. When you get into an accident, Chevrolet is not responsible for that car. I mean, for the passengers in that car. It's ultimately the driver, the owner of the car. So Kevin Hart, he can still take him to court. He may win, but the chances of him winning is very slim, in my opinion. Okay, I feel like the best thing for Kevin Hart to do is just learn from this event and just move on. It's kind of funny to me, on a side note, that when people are they get to the apex of their success, of their financial wealth, and then they turn around and they do dangerous and stupid stuff to endanger their lives. Okay, this could have completely turned into something severe where he could have lost his life. Jared Black could have lost his life. His fiancée could have lost her life. So I think, I feel like they should lick their wounds and praise to the Lord that they're still breathing. Okay, so this could have turned into so many different ways. So anyway, that's all I got to say on this video. I appreciate people supporting the content on this channel, and I will come later with some other content. I'm out.